How are you? We still haven't. I know, we haven't done our lunch. I know one thing, the mayor's not gonna go out of town again at the same time as Lisa, because I told her to book her. Should I complete my schedule? I'm not a good dad. I'm definitely not a good dad.
The June 24th, 2021 regular Wasilla City Council meeting is called to order. The time is 6 p.m. Before we begin, council, please put away cell phones. If you have personal business to attend to during the meeting, please move for a recess. Also, when speaking, please remember to state your name for those streaming the meeting. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Rousseau.
Here.
Councilmember Burney.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Councilmember Vlock.
Here.
Madam Mayor, Councilmember Harvey, I believe, is absent and excused unless there's objection from the council. You do have a quorum. Councilmembers Rousseau, Burney, Johnson, Brown, and Vlock participating in person. Councilmember Harvey absent.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Mr. Stearns, would you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Has joined.
Mr. Harvey, was that you?
Yes.
Thank you. The first item of business is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes? Hearing none, the agenda, excuse me.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
pardon me, Councilman Rousseau, I'd like to pull AM number 2130 from the consent agenda.
New business. Okay. Is there, hearing none, the agenda will stand as amended. The next on the agenda is special orders of the day. There's one proclamation which I will read. The City of Wasilla Proclamation recognizing Independence Day. Whereas June 11th, 1776, the colony's Second Continental Congress met in Philadelphia and formed a committee whose express purpose was drafting a document that would formally sever their ties with Great Britain. And whereas July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was adopted, announcing the colony's separation from Great Britain. Whereas the nation's founding fathers declared to their fellow colonists and the world our inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And whereas each year on July 4th, we celebrate the birth of our nation and the signing of the Declaration of Independence, recognizing our great country as an enduring symbol of freedom, equality, and opportunity for all. And whereas the freedoms that were won at the birth of our nations are defended every day by the dedicated men and women of the United States Armed Forces, past and present. And whereas Alaska is known as the last frontier, a great land of limitless opportunities, the spirit of our state lives on today as we continue to look to our bright and limitless future. And whereas on July 4th, 2021, we celebrate 245 years of independence. Now, therefore, I, Glenda D. Ledford, Mayor of the City of Wasilla, do hereby proclaim July 4th, 2021 as Independence Day in Wasilla and encourage all Alaskans to celebrate the birth of our nation and recognize the importance of our independence and freedom. Okay. Next on the agenda is Commission and Agencies Report. Mr. Giddings will begin with report on the Planning Commission.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. At the last meeting of the Planning Commission, they only had Committee of the Whole business, and they're continuing their discussion on revisions to landscape regulations.
Okay. And the Airshow Advisory Committee.
So they wrapped up after the air show. They had their debrief. So they went over things they learned, things they could do better. One thing they do want to do is move it to Father's Day weekend in the future.
Okay. There are no public hearings scheduled this evening, so we will move to persons to be heard.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Councilman Rousa, can I ask a question to the Public Works Director
Yes.
about his report?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Giddings, what are the proposed changes to the landscape requirements? Which direction is the Planning Commission headed with that subject in particular?
So what they're working on currently that you'll see the soonest is in the industrial zoned areas, the requirement to give an option other than mulch, so for ground cover in between the landscaping, to allow simple grass to be planted, reduction in the flower plantings. Those are the two main things.
Thank you. And another question for staff about that. Is council welcome to attend Planning Commission meetings? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't sure. I was wanting to go to that one, but I wasn't sure and didn't ask, so.
Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Councilmember Rosa. I think as a general rule, when they do attend, if you testify, we ask that you just say, I'm guessing you're there as a resident of the city of Wasilla to testify. And then, of course, you know, because you're there as a citizen, you'll be sitting in the following all the normal, whatever their rules are. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay. We are on to persons to be heard. The first one signed up is Mr. Tom Stearns.
Good evening. My name is Tom Stearns. I'm the Senior Ambassador for the Wasilla Area Seniors Incorporated. Just for your information, we have a new phone number. It's 907-206-8800. We have 3 board vacancies. 2 of them are term limits, and one is one of our board members died this year, and we have not replaced him yet. If you know of anyone that might fit as a board member for WASI, ask them to please give us a call so that we can give them the paperwork that they need to determine whether they are a good fit for that position. The Willow Project, Willow House, the ribbon cutting is going to be on 4 November 2021. We also have housing applications still available. They're still being accepted. We have 40 rooms. We only have 30 applications so far. So if you're considering it and you meet the criteria, sign up. This, on August 14th, we are planning to have a we are planning a summer block party at the Wasilla campus in August. Save the date, August 14th, to join us for a wonderful picnic lunch with all sorts of fun things. We hope that when you visit, you'll take time to admire the new raised gardens and greenhouses we installed this summer. It was a lot of work, but seeing the seniors enjoy getting in the dirt, making something grow, is well worth it. I am pleased that the gardening has emerged as a healthy social activity. Seniors enjoy helping each other. Our Miles for Meal was successful and safe. We raised $40,000 for senior meals, and there was 70 in attendance on Saturday for the run, walk, and roll. We will be participating, WASI will be participating in the 4th of July parade, and Chuck writes on Sunday we will be in the parade celebrating the founding of our nation and also the independent living at WASI that can help many seniors maintain. Then on the 13th of July, we have our quarterly business meeting at 12:45, and we would like all of you to attend that. And that's it.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions for Mr.
Councilman Brown, could you
Stearns?
repeat the new phone number again?
Yes. 907-206-8800.
Thank you.
Any further questions for Mr. Stearns? Thank you, sir. Next up is Jeannie Troe.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Jeannie Trushinsky, President, Friends of Wasilla Library. And I just wanted to fill you in on some things that are going on at the library. It's summer reading time, and that's always an exciting time. We have lots of kids, especially, that participate, but we have some adult things that go on too, so it's kind of fun. We have had multiple days of 400 to 500 people through the door. We have a door counter. It's kind of a magical thing. It counts when you go in, and it also will beep if you illegally try to take one of our books out. So we love it. We are going to have an adult spelling bee on July 22nd, and you sign up online at the library website for that. It's a really fun event, and you don't have to like spell by yourself like scripts or something. Everybody gets to write on, all the contestants write the word at the same time, and they are colorful words. We did have a concerned citizen call this past week. Contacted me first, was worried that they were going to be swear words since they're colorful words, but we were thinking more like crimson and chartreuse, not really swearing. So. Always entertaining. So anyway, summer reading's going great. Sarah, our youth librarian, is doing 2 programs per week. One is kind of for younger students, younger children. It's a story time, and then she has kind of an older students time. But the first one for older students, we had like over 60 people there. So she's trying to kind of find a balance of how to work that out. But that's great. We love the participation. It's just kind of managing like 40 of them seem like 7-year-olds, and if you know what 7-year-olds are like, it was a little wild, but fun. So good. The Friends have done 4 book sales since May, and we've brought in $1,600 so far on those book sales, and we use that money to help with all different kinds of things at the library, projects that we work on to support the library. One of the things we're really excited about, we're going to help with a story walk, and the Matsu Health Foundation has already committed $2,500 to the story walk. The story walk is kind of like, imagine those stands that you see at a national park, and a page of a book, usually it's a children's book, is put into each one of the stands, and you walk in a certain path every time, so you know the order, around the library, and you read the story. Our dream, we always have dreams, but may not be very realistic. We were kind of hoping to have it installed by the 5th anniversary of this library. It's hard to believe that this library will be 5 years old. Our 5th anniversary will be September 22nd this year. Anyway, in talking with Archie, it may not be realistic to get installed. We may be using the old, Sarah, when she formerly did it, used stakes and cones, orange cones to hold up the stakes. It was great until it was a windy day. But anyway, whatever. We will have a story walk that day to kind of tell the story of the history of the Wasilla Library. And the friends are working with the staff to plan some other activities. We don't know if it'll actually be on the 22nd or if we'll do the weekend before, the weekend after. We're kind of figuring that out. So we have some upcoming book sales. We have 2 more left this summer, July 10th and August 21st, which are Saturdays from 1 to 4. And then we have our mega sale. And I'm just going to give these to Jamie to give out to you so you don't get confused, but we do 3 days of sales. We have 26 of these book carts that we fill up. Every time we're going to have a sale somehow, we get donated books, mostly from Fireside Books in Palmer, but other people can drop off donations too. And then we have a storage. We actually have 3 storage units that are donated to us by Alaska Mini Storage. They've donated those for almost 10 years to us. And anyway, we have 160 boxes already in those for the mega sales of books. So I think those were my main things, unless you have any questions.
Yep, Madam Mayor.
Yes.
If I may, I remember very well when this room was filled because there was a controversial book that ended up on a shelf. I just appreciate the fact that the library is very sensitive to that, and nobody wants to see censorship, but there's other ways to get books that aren't necessarily just sitting on the shelf, right? So I do appreciate all the hard work everybody does down there at the library, and I know you guys do a yeoman's task in the short amount of time you're kind of allowed to be there, right? So, or the librarian staff is allowed to be there. So, but no, I do appreciate everybody down there and their efforts. Yep.
Thank you. They're amazing, and we still do need to increase the hours, but that is going to take some more staff. So that's an ongoing conversation, but they are amazing people. I mean, we have the longest tenured of people, worked employees in the whole city. One of our 30-year employees just retired 2 months ago, but we have another almost 30-year employee right now, and we have several that have, I mean, it's just incredible. They love being there, and they're very committed. So it's a
Thanks.
cool thing.
Thanks, Jeannie. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to come and testify at this time? Oh, Mr. Harvey, are you still with us?
I am.
Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Stu Graham, proud resident of the city of Wasilla. And just wanted to share a little bit today. You know, I sat on the city council for 6 years and took, sometimes dozens of calls in a day about different things going on in the city and so on and so forth. And over 6 years, I probably took 2 phone calls where somebody wanted to call and say, hey, somebody did a great job and you should be proud of that. So today I just wanted to say, Archie is doing a great job. I had the opportunity to work with him, quite a bit over the last couple of weeks, talking about a couple of different things, talking about some road issues, and we got those issues resolved or came to an understanding on those. It came as some drainage issues. We had the big flood, so to speak, and so that pointed out some drainage issues on some private property, and Archie was willing to kind of give us a hand to figure out what's the best way to handle that and move forward from there. And as you may or may not know, I've been putting in a park in my neighborhood. Archie's been instrumental in making sure that the park is going to meet the standards that we need it to meet and not cause any problems. And also had the opportunity to chat with him about some cemetery issues as well. So I just wanted to say something you guys don't hear very often. You've got a great staff, and Archie's doing a hell of a good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. Any questions for him? Hearing none. Okay. Anyone else that would like to speak? Seeing no one, we will close persons to be heard. And next is the consent agenda. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Items for approval under our consent agenda this evening are the regular meeting minutes of June 14th, 2021. We have no ordinances or resolutions up for introduction. We have one resolution up for approval, resolution serial number 2116, accepting a federal aviation administration grant in the amount of $300,000 for the Wasilla Municipal Airport pavement maintenance project. And we have 3 AMs up for approval under the consent agenda. The first is AM number 2128, contract award to North Star Excavation and Asphalt in the amount of $166,530 for the Wasilla Municipal Airport Pavement Maintenance Project. Second, AM 2129, contract amendment to HDL Engineering Consultants in the amount of $34,910 for the Wasilla Municipal Airport Pavement Maintenance Project, construction administration services. And lastly, AM number 2131, contract extension to Big Dipper Construction in the amount of $879,250 for the city's fiscal year 2022 equipment rental with operator contract.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Councilmember Vilak, second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Burney and seconded by Councilmember Vilak to approve the consent agenda as read. Is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is approved. There is no unfinished business this evening. Madam Clerk, please read the next item of business.
Thank you. That's under new business. That's item 10.1, update from administration on emergency response efforts related to COVID-19.
There has been no new action taken on responses to COVID-19. And then we have, okay. Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Next, under new business item of business is AM number 2130, contract award to Big Dipper Construction in the amount of $971,273 for the base bid for the city's road paving program 2021-2022.
Mr. Rousa.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was glad to see this on the agenda, but had some concerns looking through the what do we call the packet here. So my main concern, and I've mentioned this a few times before, and it's really just has to do with the road construction standards that we're aiming to achieve. And reading through here, I can see that, and I live on Creekside Drive, so I'm somewhat of a subject matter expert on that particular road. And so using that road as an example, in the verbiage here, it says that the ditches will be reestablished to a minimum of 12 inches deep, and that there's going to be a 3-inch lift put on the road. That's the best I understand it, with 2 inches of pavement on top of that, and along with the first 500 feet or 250 feet being lifted. And all of that sounds like an improvement over where it's at, but my concern is that we're taking these roads too much one at a time without developing any kind of standard by which to build by. I was on the Borough Platting Board during the rewriting of the subdivision construction manual. I was the chairman of that board and pretty involved on that end. And just knowing a little bit about road construction standards, that's what makes this jump out to me. And just, I wanted to go through some of the basic things that we're not doing that are required of any new road anywhere else in the borough. So the sub-base, which is underneath the base, the 3-inch base, would ordinarily be 20 inches. And the way that material is described is as crushed stone, crushed gravel, consisting of sound, rough, durable pebbles or rock fragments. And what I would describe our sub-base material as is more of a kind of a clay, silt, peat, gravel mix. And I'm sure it would be hard to refute that the roads, they fall apart very quickly. Another really big thing that I think is something to consider, something to take into consideration here, is the ditch depth. We don't currently on that road have enough ditch depth And on most of the roads listed here, I can think of the one off of right by Lucas there, and it's in the, I'm just not on the right page. Lone Cub, is it Lone Cub? Yeah. That's another one. It really doesn't have very deep ditches, and the target that we're aiming to achieve here is a 12-inch depth. The target that is ordinarily achieved on any other road that's repaved or rebuilt in the borough is 30 inches, and that's significantly different, right? That's 18 inches different. Also supposed to have a minimum of a 2-foot culvert. We're not even putting culverts in, from what I can tell, probably because the 12-inch ditch depth isn't enough to handle a culvert. You can't put a culvert in if the culvert itself is going to be taller than the ditch. So we're not really going to be able to manage drainage. Another thing that really pops out to me about that road in particular, and again, since I live on the road, I'm somewhat of a subject matter expert. A lot of people walk down my road. They tie into the power line trail. They go up to the bike path to Crema, up in that area by the Native Hospital. And we're proposing to take all the material that's excavated out of this and pile it up at the end of the cul-de-sac. That, to me, as a resident, right there, just is not impressive at all. I mean, that material should be hauled off for sure. Anything that the city touches should be graded to final grade. It should be planted. It should be trim and pretty and beautiful. If we're investing money, it should be done to a higher standard, in my opinion. And I'm very, very excited about these roads being upgraded, about them being brought to a higher standard. I just think that we're aiming way too low on this. I think that they really need to be, even if we had to take 2 of these and remove them to make the other 3 correct, I think that would be pick my road to remove. Make it the last one done in the city.
Mr. Rausa, this is just a motion to award a contract.
I understand. Yep, to do the work that I'm talking about. That's what I understand.
Ollie, you
Correct?
want to weigh in?
Well, I think one of the things that the mayor is getting at is, at this stage, really, council's authority is over the purse of the city and really has the procurement method, or is the amount of the contract, is it being awarded in accordance with the code provisions, but the specs of the actual work, I think those fall squarely within the department's assessment. So when we're looking at what goes into the micro components of the agreement, that really falls under the administration's arm.
Madam Mayor,
Makes sense?
Councilman Harvey.
Yes.
I understand what she's saying, but I kind of disagree at the same point, because it's not solely our job to look at the numbers. It's whether we support this or don't. So if we're expressing our concerns of whether we support it or not, and we don't support it, if administration's not willing to kind of wiggle with it, then if we simply vote no on it and it fails, it kind of does have an effect, and that is within the scope of our responsibilities as council members.
Well, I think that's a great point, but I think the balance is, so it's so important for council to express their viewpoints regarding where they want to see, what projects they want to see done. Do they want roads to be a primary priority for council spending, and do they want to weigh in on that and direct the administration to really focus in certain areas? But when we start talking about exact specs, the reason why we have this division of governance is because if we start saying things like our ditching is inappropriate, or it's not up to standard, or it's not up to spec, right? That's a pretty significant allegation regarding city projects, and that creates liability, and it also creates confusion sometimes by the public, who is looking to council to set priorities and policy. But if they're looking at the actual specifications and how your staff is following through, that we look to an administrator, and specifically in Wasilla, the mayor, to do that appropriately. Now, if council finds that the roads are not up to standard and that there is a problem, then that absolutely is council's purview to complain, to ask for changes, and you see that when emphasis on zoning and what the community planning looks like, and then that trickles up to, say, comprehensive plan and strategic planning for your community, which is definitely squarely in council's authority base. I don't know if that makes sense. I know it's clear as mud, but I think it's important just to sort of understand those concepts so you can kind of dance around them and and work together so that we don't end up having a micro conversation that inadvertently puts the city at risk.
Thank you, Ms. Walls. Understanding that my scope is strictly limited to the purse, I think that from where I'm sitting, what I can see, this is clearly substandard and is a not a good use of money, and I can't support it. I would like very much to be able to articulate that, to have a discussion. If I'm being told I can't, then I can't, and that's fine. I'm okay with that, but I do think that this is very substandard. It's a very, very low standard. It's much lower than anywhere in the broader Mat-Su Valley. And I know that from firsthand experience. I was 5 years on the plating board, helped rewrite both the subdivision construction manual and also the Title 43, which is the for subdivisions. And I also live on one of these roads. And so, yeah, I'm reading it clearly. I understand it clearly. I understand what you're saying even. I can't support this. It's a very bad use of money. I do think it puts the city at risk, at liability. It's definitely a huge waste of money because this asphalt that we put down for a couple $100,000 is going to degrade very quickly. And we're still going to have flooding issues. There's going to be many problems. We haven't dealt with snow storage, drainage, any of those things. And there's no engineered analysis of any of it either. There's no test holes. Nobody's done any work down there to determine what the requirements are. And so I think it's a huge waste of money.
And Councilmember Rouse, I just want to point out, because I think especially your comments there are very helpful. What council can do is propose laws, right? So there are criteria and standards that are built into your ordinances and your code, and that is absolutely within your purview. So it's not that this discussion and the importance of your voice and the direction we want to go doesn't have a home. It absolutely does. It's just once we have, so in order to bring that to fruition and make sure your input is getting where it needs to go, I think it's really, you start with an ordinance and you bring that forward and you change criteria and standards. It's not so much how those criteria and standards have been applied in a procurement or RFP. So long as they're following the code, this is administration's home. But it doesn't mean you don't have a home. It's not just the purse. It's very important that you understand that you have another avenue here. And if based on your beliefs, if there's substandard policies that you believe are in play that are leading to, then it absolutely, I think it's really important that you bring that forward in legislation, and that you can sponsor legislation as part of your. So I don't feel limited to money. It's not that council's limited to money. It's that you're limited to law and policy, and not so much the nitty-gritty application of this on a specific road project.
Madam Mayor, if I may. And thank you very much, Mr. Rausa, for bringing this forward, because this is important. But as far as I can tell in this room, we have one engineer, and I think it's important for the council to hear from him. And I believe that engineer that we have is on staff.
Yes. Mr. Giddings.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So a bulk of this work has been put together by Deputy Director Walden, who did a bunch of this exact same work for the borough, coming into neighborhoods on existing roads. They did drive-arounds with my road maintenance supervisor to look at flooding issues, to see what was soft in the spring. To your that area you mentioned at the cul-de-sac, we want to preserve that as a trail. There was an opportunity to fill in a little bit of the low spot, and it's certainly going to look good when we're done. But yeah, that was a good catch. That was an opportunity. They saw a place to waste some material instead of hauling it off. Driveway culverts are 12-inch diameter, cross culverts are 24-inch diameter. All our roads do not need to be 30 inches deep for proper drainage. We look at what fits well, and Mr. Walden's done using the same standard the borough road maintenance has used, going in on older roads and retrofitting it.
Okay. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think actually Attorney Wells summed it up really well in her last comment to Councilmember Rosa. The council should never feel like they don't have a say, but technically speaking, the motion before the council right now is to award the contract based on the RFP. I don't know if our road standards, and I apologize, I'm not familiar with that section of our code. I don't know if our road standards are in code. So if they are, it would be appropriate if we wanted modification, a code ordinance amending that section. Maybe it's something, if it's not in code, we want to put it in code. And then it would be just like anything else, it would be up to staff to make sure it's their responsibility, their oath, to make sure that they follow code when carrying out their duties, just like I do with the election. I make sure the deadlines are all met. I make sure, but I don't necessarily bring forward my nominating packet to you for approval. You just know that I go through and make sure the dates and everything's kosher. So I thought the attorney summed it up very well, much more articulately than I probably am.
Okay, is there further discussion on AM number 21-30? Hearing none, I need a motion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move AM 21-30.
Is there a second?
Councilman Brown, second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Burney and seconded by Councilmember Brown to approve AM number 2130. Madam Clerk.
There's no further discussion
No.
from the body? Well, Madam Mayor, you would like a vote. Councilmember Rasa, how do you vote on the approval of AM 2130, which is to award a contract award to Big Dipper Construction in the amount of $971,273 for the base bid for the city's road paving program 2021-2022?
No.
Councilmember Burney.
I appreciate Councilman Rouse bringing it forward. I trust the staff to do the right thing, so yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
I'm a little bit conflicted on it, to be honest with you. But seeing as our choice really is either to allocate the money or not, and postpone this, I guess I would vote, because I'd want to see the improvements continue. I'll vote yes, although I'm not really an ardent supporter of what's being done.
A yes vote. Councilmember Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Vilak.
Yes.
Councilmember Harvey.
No.
The motion to approve AM number 2130 passes with Councilmembers Burney, Johnson, Brown, and Vilak in support. Councilmembers Rouse and Harvey opposed.
Okay. Madam Clerk, please read the title of the items under communication.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have IM number 2108, monthly financial reports for the period ending May 31st, 2021, to include the month-to-date expenditure report and disbursements greater than $10,000. We have two sets of commission meeting minutes, the first Wasilla Airshow Advisory Committee minutes from June 2nd and also June 9th, 2021.
Thank you, ma'am. And now we are on to audience comments. 3 minutes per person. Is there anyone present who would like to address the city council at this time? Seeing no one, then next on the agenda, Madam Clerk, I will start with you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just wanted to inform the council that we did pass out travel packets for the AML Summer Conference in August. So if you're interested in attending, please get that form back to me. We'll get your hotel reservations have already been secured, and then you can decide if you want to fly up or you want to drive up. So, and other than that, we'll see you here for our next regular meeting, July 26th. Candidate filing, we have 2 seats open this year. City Council seats A and B will be on the ballot. Candidate filing is July 19th through 30th. So that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Council members, Mr. Johnson.
Madam Mayor, if you could quick give us a briefing as to your expectations on the council's participation on the 4th of July, I'd really appreciate it, and including any invitations that you may offer.
I invite each and every one of you to be at the Wasilla High School parking lot on July the 4th at 10 a.m. There will be a job for everybody.
So enticing.
Oh, I know. I expect to see every one of you.
Do we get city hats and shirts to represent properly?
We can get hats. We can get hats.
That's 11 o'clock?
It's 10 o'clock. Simon.
Show up late.
Yeah.
I misunderstood.
Yeah. And that would be AM. So, okay. Anything else, Mr. Johnson?
I assume that we should be wearing good walking shoes, is that it?
Oh, yeah, I would think so. Yeah. Councilmember Villock.
No comment.
Councilmember Harvey.
I actually do have some comments this evening.
Okay.
Thank the city attorney and city clerk for their input. I'm kind of reaching out for a little bit more clarification, kind of discussion we just had about that last AM. Because I still feel that it's the council's responsibility to look at what we're being asked to approve, even if it's more of an administration thing. And it's, in the process of looking at that, I feel like we should be scrutinizing it and making sure everything looks good. And if we see something that we feel, granted, we might not be engineers, we might not be experts, see something that we feel is an issue, I feel like it's something we should address. I don't feel that we should be supporting something or appropriating money for something if it's something that we don't fully support. So I'll definitely be planning to meet up with you guys and talk a little bit more about that. But other than that, that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Rousa.
Thank you. Just a quick comment. I would like to, I've been talking with Mr. Johnson about this for a few months now, but I would like to take up Holly's invitation, so to speak, to look at some new legislation that relates to road construction standards. I think, one of my comments when I came on council at my interview was that, and my reason for joining council is that I don't want to just look at things happen in the city and just either be satisfied or disappointed. If I see something happening, I'd like to be involved. I'd like to be able to say that either A, I tried, B, this and this happened in part as a result of my effort and energy, and that's really my drive here. I don't want to just see these roads built or upgraded and just be a complaining citizen, angry old codger out on my road, shaking my cane 60 years from now. I'd like to be a part of it because I will be here for a long time. I'm not going anywhere. And, so I'd like to look at getting other council members on board with this to just really take a hard look at what our road construction standards are, try and look at it as a city. I make references to the borough, but, we're not the borough. We're a city, we're our own city, we're our own little patch of grass here, right in the middle of a great big borough, and we're going to do things different than the borough for sure. But I want to make sure that at a minimum, it's at least up to the standards that are set in the surrounding community, and hopefully exceed those standards. Hopefully, when people enter the city of Wasilla, they'll know by what they see that they've entered a better, a finer spot within the borough, and that's really my goal here. So I'd like to, invite other council members to start thinking about this, and and hopefully have a discussion soon about drafting some legislation to introduce road construction standards beyond what we currently have. And I'd certainly also like to invite Mr. Giddings, the Public Works Director, to be involved. I'd very much like to just have a conference table type meeting where we could just discuss where we're at, where we are falling short, what we could be doing that we're not currently, and get something codified so that we have a reference manual for the next generation of public works directors or people upgrading the road, for bidders, for council, for the future. Anyway, otherwise, thank you.
Councilmember Brown.
Madam Mayor, no comments.
Councilmember Bernie.
Mr. Roush, I'm going to be rooting for you by the time they get to Fern. I hope you have it perfected. Mr. Giddings has it perfected. Thank you. No comment.
Madam Attorney.
One thing I want to say is I think that it's really important council always remembers you have the right to sponsor an ordinance, and what you're talking about, Councilmember Elsa, is a great idea. And I think if you reach out to the city clerk, she can help you orchestrate exactly, because we have to pay attention to the Open Meetings Act, so a certain amount of council members can be a part of that on the front end and co-sponsor it with you. But I think if you reach out to the city clerk, she can help you start that process. So I think that it's definitely something you can take on, and I don't want anyone to think that I was suggesting you don't have that right. In fact, I think that's a very important part of your position. So call Jane.
Just quick follow-up. I only have until October technically, right? So we need to hurry. Okay.
Okay. The next meeting will be July the 12th, 2021.
I got ahead of myself.
She was trying to get us through July. So I just would, to reiterate what Holly said, it's very important that the council do participate and everything. And what I would say is, when you get your packet and you read your packet, when you have questions and whatever, then you go to that director, call the director, set up a time, go to the director and have them help you understand or whatever the discussion needs to be. And so that way it gives you some insight. And as far as engineer, we have one on staff and a very good one. And I would trust him to do whatever the city needs done, because when you talk to people out in the borough, then you'll realize what a good reputation he does have for the work that he does. So kudos to you, Archie. So anyway, with that, July the 4th, anywhere from 9 to 10. And then, 9 to 10 a.m., Mr. Brown. And then we have the mayor's picnic at 1 o'clock from 1 to 3 over in the Idita Park. Then from 5 to 9 at the Green Pavilion, we have Fun at 5. We have music, we have vendors, we have food trucks, we have a beer garden. So, and also what's new this year, for the fireworks, you can park at Wasilla High School, and there'll be a shuttle bus that will shuttle you over to the fireworks. And then when they're over, it'll shuttle you back to your car, because parking's a nightmare over there. So, I would think they'd start shuttling, what, about 9:30? Who can tell me? None of you can tell me. Joan can.
The fireworks start at 11 p.m. on the 4th of July, so I don't think much shuttling is going to be happening much before 10 o'clock, but we are in Valley Transit is going to make that a wonderful opportunity for those that want a little bit closer distance to the fireworks.
Yeah.
But we're going to work out those details, and I remind everyone to go to the City of Wasilla's website, and the poster is there. There's another page that also discusses in more detail some more of the events and how to participate in the parade, how to get and volunteer, not just for the parade, but we've got lots of great things planned that whole weekend long with the kickoff at the Menard Center as well, with the car show and the Ashley McBride and Kip Moore concert is that night, July 3rd, and lots of great things that'll be going on the 4th of July. So go to the website, get some information, and hope to see you all there.
Because Wasilla is the place to be. The weekend of July the 4th. Tell all of your neighbors and friends. And everybody will be so excited to see the city's float this year. Come and take a good look. Yeah, see? With no further business at hand, the meeting is adjourned at 6:50. I mean, seriously, if you want city hats. Okay, hold on.